Okay, let's check it out. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Are we there? I don't even know how to test this. Like really. I should be seeing some messages. Stream information, chats. No. All right. Okay, cool. We're in. Welcome everybody. All right. Greetings to DevDad. Cool. All right. Awesome. So let's see. What do we have? So, as I promised, a short introduction of the project, what I'm working on. So it's like a boilerplate for having a point, like having a geolocation point and then retrieving a near location point. So it can be any service provider, it can be restaurant, it can be anything literally. So the mobile device detects where you are, then it goes to the server, and if the point is fitting the radius, then it's getting back. That's pretty much it. So are we cool? Damn, this thing is so new to me. Okay. Anybody? Any responses? Excellent. Kawa. Excellent. Excellent. Very good. So I'm using React Native as DevDad. Um, I'm using Express as DevDad. So the project organization is in the way that I have a folder where you can see server, where you can, I don't know, should I zoom in a little bit? Okay, that might be better. I have a huge monitor, so guys, yeah, excellent. So yeah, server that is on Express, and then we have React Native folder. All the files are here. I'm using the boilerplate, which is sent to DevDad as well, which is this one, this one. This boilerplate, Node Express. I think that's like literally the top-notch boilerplate. If you're using Express and Node, it's a must-have. Really, really must-have. It's like all the code is organized, the tests, the logics of sending requests, getting responses. It's just awesome. So I'm using this one. As for That's pretty much. Oh yes and no. The MongoDB. DevDad is using Firebase. I'm using Mongo. Set up on my local machine. I'm not using any Google services except of the maps. So I have, as you can see, node boilerplate test. This is the database for testing. So when I run tests, it drops the records here, and then you can easily test them. The development environment is using these database, which is for kind of development. Then there will be another one for production. The logics of the backend is that we are having, let me open it, sir. Models. We are having multiple models. We have provider, we have event, we have calendar, we have user. So let me explain how this interacts. So that when user registers, it gets an account. Automatically, when he gets an account, he gets a calendar, because like the idea of this thingy, and this one, is that we are not only requesting the location of the point, but we are providing the user the possibility to request a time slot for this location. So let's assume I want to reserve a time slot in a restaurant that's nearby. I don't really want to call. I just open the application. It detects my location, detects restaurants in defined radius. For example, in this particular case, it's 5 kilometers, if I'm not mistaken. And then this application provides me, of course, it gets only the restaurants that have free spots. So it provides me with the points. I can then click on the point and book a place for myself. Then calculate the route to this restaurant, just go there, and the place will be there. So the provider, I call them providers, they are service providers. They can be anything, restaurants, car repair shops, anything, you name it, just literally anything. This is like something that is providing you a service as soon as possible, as close as possible. You open the application, you book it, you go and consume. So when user registers, he gets a calendar. In this example, so we have a user, then user has a calendar. In this case, we have user with ID 44D. Then if I go to calendar, there is a user calendar, which is referring to 44D. And user also can become a provider. So for example, it's like I have registered in application, but actually I, as a user, I can provide some services to other users. So how do I do that? As a user, I want to easily to convert to provider. So that's why we have providers. So let's assume as a user, I have converted to a provider, and provider has a reference to a user, which is 44D. As a reminder, here is a 44D. But every provider, because I'm providing a service, so I'm kind of providing my time for the users to serve them. So as a provider, I need to have a calendar as well, which will be for other people to book events inside my calendar as a provider. So the provider has calendar. As you can see, there is user calendar and there is provider calendar. So I can interact with application like a user. I can interact with application like a provider. Provider document has also a reference to a provider ID, which is 449. So if I open the provider, it should be with ID 449. And there are events. This table yet is empty, but the logic is that when I create event, it will be rather connected with the calendar, which is referring to a user, or the event will be connected to a calendar, which is referring to a provider. So that's the logics. That's the idea. Let me read text. Okay. Ladder has no, I don't have models. That no, I'm not using models really. Let me reload. I don't know if I will be dropped with the. Okay, no, it's persisting login. So no, as for if I remember correctly, let me. Where is the login? Where is the login? Source, store, user, and then we go here, remove credentials. Okay, so let me. By the way, that React Native debugger. That's. I mean, by the way, yeah. Let's before I go there, let's speak a little bit about React Native. So React Native is organized in a way that it's storing the data in Redux. So if you open the state, you will see that I am using couple of states here. This is auth for the user. So if I go to the last state, you will clearly see that there is authenticated user with the user ID. All the data is stored here. So user has a token. This is the dev that what are you dealing now is how to get these accesses. So now as we can see, user has access token and a refresh token. So when the access token expires, then the refresh token will be automatically sent to the server, and the new token, access token, will be sent into Redux, saved in Redux, so that the next time I open the application, it will rehydrate the state as this one with the persist, and you don't have to log in. So it's literally automatic. And speaking of that, let me read the comments. Okay, so inspector, yes, inspector is React Native debugger. React Native debugger is connected to React Native as a middleware. So if you open the store, here are the states reducers, authentication, theme, geo that I'm using for saving the data for location. And then there is a middleware, this one, that is setting up the debugger. So I can use React Native debugger, or I can use Chrome just to open as a separate tab and use it as a debugger. A message. So, okay, you're welcome. Absolutely. I don't know. What I wanted to quickly introduce the dev that if you have time, I can quickly show you the RTK query, how it interacts with the with the client and server. Okay, so the demo is actually simple. Let me launch. If I'm not mistaken, it's auth. Let's see. No. Still rehydrated. what's the user index? Remove credentials. Should be auth. Okay, cool. Should be actually removed. Oh yeah, nice. So as you can see, the credentials were removed. So now if I load the application, I should be having, yeah, so login. The super simple login, and no models. So if you go to forgot password, as you can see, it's just a new screen. You can go back, you can register new account, and log in. So if speaking about the screens, then the organization is inside navigators. As you can see, I have stacks. This is stack for authentication, and this is stack for main when user is already there, already logged in. So it just opens main. And then there are screens. There are screens for authentication, which is forgot, login, register, and so on. And there are screens for example, for the map and for the startup. So as soon as user logs in, it has been shown a startup screen, and after the startup, it goes to the map. That's the logic. So let me log in. So as you can see, here is the server on the side. I sent a request to the auth login to 100. I got accepted. Now there is another request on page load, which is I'm requesting a route from server, which is providers near with query. A query has longitude, latitude, and the distance, the radius, in which it should be requesting the location. So it goes to the database where providers are. Providers store the location as object with coordinates with the latitude, longitude. So if it matches the radius, then it sends this provider to the client. So we are requesting with these coordinates, they perfectly match with this one, yet they are absolutely the same, but it will count the radius. So there is a function, where this map. So there is a function, update coordinates. And guess who generated me this function? Any ideas? Anybody? Any ideas? Exactly. That. Exactly. Yes. I didn't know where to go and how to, like, it's not a trivial problem actually. So like, you having a location in the database, and let's assume you have a lots of the providers, like thousands of them. And if you're requesting the data from the database, it should literally parse every single record. And it's enormous load to the server. So I asked GPT, like, what's the function? And he said, bro, no worries. MongoDB actually got this covered. So there is a function. It accepts a parameter with type point, and it's using some kind of a three or two-dimensional function. I don't even remember what this thing is called, but GPT just said me, hey, you just go copy paste it and it will be working. So this is the front end function, and there is one function on the back end which is doing all these calculations. But speaking of front end, then this function is launched every single time when there is a change in the region. So if I open my app and I start dragging you will see that every single time the request is being sent. So for example, I'm dragging and the request is sent. Now, speaking about requests, dev, this is exactly RTK query. So why this thing is cool is that it creates a Redux. It's like native toolkit for Redux. It creates a state in Redux, and you can actually see what is happening on the client side. What are the requests, and it is handling all the requests and all the data, all the errors. You can subscribe, you can do anything. So let's take an example. So I have sent 3 queries here. I see what were the queries. So the status, all the data, absolutely everything, like absolutely everything, and everything is handled by automatically. I don't have to do anything at all. And like, even if I get an error, it will be here. So like automatically I have been subscribed for this one. I can set up an interval, how often it will ping for the data. And the way how it's done on the front end, you will be amazed, really. Let me show you the function. This is all I had to set up for the query. How's that? Yes, I can see cached results in Redux. Absolutely. Absolutely. I can see everything there. I can even do it this way, that there are lots of different methods. Like I can work with the data before the request is sent. I can work with immediately before request will be sent. I can work with the data immediately after response is received. It's like I have absolutely full control, like full control over all the requests, over all the data, anything. Absolutely. And the setup, yeah, it is very cool. Let me show you the setup of the function. So as you can see, it's using the hooks, use provider query. So if I go there, okay, open me. So I am setting up an API for all the access points that I need for providers. So in this case, I'm getting all providers. I can have automatic, and these hooks are automatic. I mean, I can just check this out. Use provider query. So I'm just doing this. Use, and you get all the available hooks. It's written and it's given for you at no cost, literally. So get provider mutation, get provider query, lazy provider query, prefetch, mutation. It's like you name it. You can use whatever you want, whatever you need in any specific situation. Now the request itself is formed here. So if I open the query, then it's here. This one is coming from env. I'm setting up the method. I'm setting up the parameters that I'm sending, and it goes. On query started, for example, the callback function, I can use it as well if I need to do something or debug it or like mutate the data. Absolutely, like anything. So, and okay, now let's go back. I'll quickly show you the initial setup of API that is handling all the requests. So there is like an initial setup of API. So the API is being set up So you create an API with RTK query, like this one, toolkit query React, create API, you create an API, you set up the base query here. So this will be launched on every single request. This is important. On every single request. And as you can see, like with every single request, we need authentication token because we need to know who is requesting the data, right? How you do that? You will do it manually and you have to write manual code for that. Or you can write a function that's being called every single time you need a request. So check this out. So we are requesting the base query, this one. We have base URL for server. We are preparing the headers. We are requesting tokens, access token in this case. We are setting the authorization. And now we are requesting the query. So now the query, if the query returned error or 401, which is unauthorized, we're trying to get a new token. So what we are doing, we are using a refresh token there, refresh token, and we send it to the server with the base query with exactly the same function, this function. So the token is replaced by the refresh token. It's sent to the server. Server sees that, hey, okay, I'll show you. So we have a database of tokens. So it goes here and validates that, yes, this user has a refresh token, so we can grant him access. Now, when the response received result, and if refresh data is right, then we return result. So you are automatically relogged in and you don't need to ask user for a password. So right now, if I literally refresh my application, you see no login, nothing, and all the requests are handled for me. I can get this data absolutely automatically. I can just go to Redux store and get this data without any problem. It is, yes, super handy. Google handles that for me for the most part. So yeah, yes. They are, if I understand correctly, they are kind of trying to achieve, like, Firebase is a multi-tool. You can use it for this, you can use it for that, you can use it even for like a dashboard, or you don't really need an admin, because I need an admin because like I'm using database purely and I will need an admin to handle users. Absolutely. You can do that with Firebase, no problem. But speaking of RTK, absolutely, it's a must-have. Like if you're working with Redux, and I don't see any possible reason how to handle all this data without Redux. It has to be saved somewhere. It has to be rehydrated when application is opened. It has to remember the state. It has to subscribe for events if something changes. Let's assume like somebody has booked a spot before you, but you are already on the checkout process. How you will update this data? You don't need to refresh the application. I mean, the screen, right? It will update it for you. So it's like super handy. Yeah, indeed. Kawa, bye. Yes, just take a look at that. I mean, at the very first stage, it may sound a bit complicated, and I was cursing like because I was managed to handle all the requests by myself, and outsourcing this functionality to RTK query is like, like a mess. But then when you start understanding the logics, it's so easy. Like it it's like GPT for queries, really. It speeds up the process like dramatically. All right. Well, that was the robust, fast, I would rush introduction of what I'm working on. It's a side project. It's not my work. So I'm trying to develop it kind of on a boilerplate uh, philosophy, so I can reuse it anytime I need to build something similar. For example, for restaurants, for car shops, and it can grow like a tree pretty much. That's the idea. I think Dev, if you're still here, we can switch back to your stream, and that's it from my side. I think now we know about each other a little more. Let me open the... All right. Let's see whether we have people on stream. Should I continue? Damn, this thing is so new to me. Jesus. It's like, wow. Everything is so new. What do we have? Activity feed. What's that? How can I see online people? Statistics? No. I remember there was something for that. How do I do that? Okay, I think I just go there. Okay. There should be some statistics here. Maybe that's activity. No. No. I remember there was somehow you could... Ah, yeah, that's it. Exactly. But how can I see online people? Is there any way to do that? Huh? All right. I think I'm gonna I don't know how. If anybody is here, then welcome. Thanks for watching, and I think for now I'm gonna stop, take a breath, and bye bye.